Hey guys, Tony here. Welcome back and happy Sunday. I hope all of y'all are having a great weekend. Many of you have been asking me for a long time to provide some ongoing coverage of Palantir. Today starts the beginning of that journey. Let's do this together. If this is your first time here, welcome. A little bit about me. I'm just like you, a retail trader. I have been trading 30 years. No, I did not ever work on Wall Street. I do have a degree in economics, a minor in finance. Nobody pays me to say what I say, guys. Everything that you're going to hear on this channel is my own opinion, my research based on reading the financial statements, the fundamentals, analyst reports. And I always encourage you to do the same. Read those damn financial statements, do your own due diligence, and don't just take the word off of anybody on YouTube, because there's a lot of people out there who don't know what they're talking about and don't take the time to read the financial statements. We can't just look at charts and make predictions. You have to have a overall holistic approach when you're analyzing these companies. Now let's get into Palantir. As we start talking about Palantir together, just a reminder, as many people know, sometimes my opinions are not popular because I tell you the unvarnished truth, what I see in the fundamentals, what I see in the financials and the filings. It's not all about hopium and clickbait and all of that stuff. If there's a good story, we will tell you the good story. If there's risks, I'm going to tell you about those risks. That is how you should be looking at all of your investments. We start off looking at my little red, green, yellow spreadsheet here that I put together, going over some indicators so you can see, is this a good play or not? We want to find companies that have all green on these, or mostly green. We want to avoid companies that have a lot of red. Palantir has mostly green, and the couple of reds that are on here, not too worried about. So at a very high level, Palantir is something that we need to spend some time digging more into and find out next, what is the good entry on the chart? Profitability, yes, they have profitability. They have positive earnings and it is growing. Return on equity is negative, but they are working to fix that. Cash position on the balance sheet, at least 16 months. Debt to equity ratio is positive. Current ratio, or the working capital, their ability to pay their bills in the next 12 months, very, very healthy. Revenue growth rate, 15 to 17.5%. The dilution risk is low for Palantir. They have plenty of cash. The CEO tells you what he's going to do, and he has been delivering on that. We don't want CEOs who tell us one thing and then never deliver on it. Even if you don't like what they're saying, as long as they're telling you what they're going to do and they do it, that gets a green. Short interest on Palantir is low, 6.88%. That is good because shorts are not interested in shorting this company. We want to see a low short interest for our long-term holds. That tells us we might be looking at a company that has something good going on. Dividends, well, it's red. You could call it yellow. They're not paying a dividend yet. It's not really something that would keep me from buying Palantir. I reviewed the recent insider trades, and other than some pre-scheduled 10b5-1 sells, there's not a lot to worry about here with Palantir. And I want you to be thinking always when you're looking at stocks, if insiders are selling, you should be asking yourself, if it's not part of a pre-scheduled 10b5-1, why are they selling? And is that a signal for you to consider selling? What do they know that you don't know? Stick around because we're going to finish up here in just a minute with the chart on Palantir, and I'm going to go over the recent price action and what I'm looking at for a good entry on Palantir. They did have a nice run up here in the past couple months. But first, let's look at the balance sheet and the income statement. We'll start off with the income statement. I did own Palantir back in 2021 for several months. It was just hanging out in the $20 range, not really doing very much. So I sold that and put that money to work elsewhere. They weren't making money back then. So I guess in retrospect, it's good that I sold because it fell all the way down into the $5 range this year. What we are looking at, though, is we see revenue from 2021 growing. We see that the operating income has gone from negative to positive, and that the net income also has gone from negative to positive. Looking at the bar charts on that, very nice uptrend in top line revenue. You can see the operating income also going from those big negative blocks to recently a very small positive operating income. And same with the net income. going from negative to the most recent 3 quarters into the positive. All very good things. Couple of things to look at on the balance sheet. And oh, by the way, I have 3 videos you might want to go review if you want to know what do I look for on the financial statements. 3 videos to go look for on my channel: how to read an income statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement in 30 seconds or less. You don't need to be an accountant. This is some basic stuff to let you know if you're dealing with a solid company or one that is very risky and speculative. What do we look for on the balance sheet? How is the cash? Is it growing or is it falling? What we see on Palantir here is that the cash and cash equivalents is growing. Very healthy sign. Next thing that I look at is the current assets versus the current liabilities. This is where we calculate our current ratio, or the working capital. Do they have enough money to pay their bills in the next 12 months? I want to see that current assets ideally is higher than current liabilities. Here we have 3.5 billion in current assets in the most recent quarter and only 685 million in current liabilities. That is a very healthy ratio. Long-term liabilities is one other thing that we look at on the balance sheet. Palantir has $259 million in long-term liabilities. That gives them total liabilities of $945 million when we add up the current and the long-term. When we compare the total assets of $3.98 billion to the total liabilities of $945 million, this is again a very healthy ratio of total assets to total liabilities. One final thing is the common stock here on the balance sheet. We're looking to see, are they diluting or are they buying back shares? You can see that there has been some increase from the right to the left in the common stock. So there was a little bit of dilution over the past couple of years, but not anything really out of control. I mean, I've seen some companies dilute 5, 10, 20 times over a 2-year period. And we have here about 1.2 million shares added to the float. On the cash flow statement, most recent quarter, we can see that they had a positive operating cash flow. On investing cash flow, they had negative $391 million due to this change in investment. Financing cash flow, $90.68 million positive. Net cash flow, negative $214 million. Free cash flow, $86 million. That is all we're going to cover on the financials for this video. The very next time they do earnings, I'll do a deep dive on the 10Q with you guys, so you can look forward to that in a few months. Let's talk about the chart, what has been happening in the past couple months, and what am I thinking as far as a good entry on Palantir in light of the recent run-up and then the turn down in price. As I mentioned, I did own some Palantir in this 2021 period when it was trading between $20 to $25. It just wasn't doing what I wanted it to. I was hoping we get a little repeat of this bump up, but as we know, 2021, as the year wound down, things got worse in the economy. So I got out of that play before this big fall off, all the way down to $5.84 in January of this year. And for those of you that were able to buy in the $5 to $7 range between, any time in late 2022 up until May of 2023, what a great opportunity. As AI got more popular, Palantir soared up to $20, 20 and change. And that was a great opportunity to take some profits off the table. Hopefully you did that. Now let's talk about what is coming up next. We're going to zoom in and look at some technical signals. I'm going to start off by saying right now, this chart is not screaming at me that I want to be buying Palantir at these price levels. In fact, there's a lot of things that tell me I need to wait if I want to get an entry in Palantir. Remember, I'm not holding Palantir yet, so I'm reviewing this chart from the perspective of, I know that on the red, green, yellow dashboard, things look really good. How do I get for myself a good entry into Palantir if I want to add it into my portfolio for a long-term hold? Let's talk about the negatives on this chart and the one positive. First bearish signal is that all of these candlesticks are under the moving averages that I'm tracking. We have the 200 moving average sitting way down here at $10, a long potential way to go on that. The MACD is trending bearish as well. The one positive on this chart is that the RSI is low, but again, I want to remind you guys, you can't do your TA analysis and only focus on the RSI. Never do your TA based on one signal. You got to take the totality of whatever the TA signals that you like to look at. Make them work in tandem. Don't focus on one. That is a beginner's mistake. The final thing that we're going to look at to try and help me figure out where is an ideal entry for myself. Now, yeah, ideally I'd like to get in at $5 to $7 if I could, but I don't know if it's going to retrace all the way back down. So if it doesn't, where is it likely to bounce or hover? And we want to be keeping an eye on those price levels. The other thing that I'm going to be keeping in mind is the general economic trends. What is going on with the indexes overall? We don't ever want to look at one stock in a vacuum, because even though I might have identified price levels for this ticker, I still need to keep the entire market in mind, because if the market starts eroding, the NASDAQ, the SPY, the Dow, then the price levels that I'm looking at on Palantir or any stock that I have identified that I'd like to go into, those price levels could adjust downward with the general market movement. What I see here on the fib is that it did stop right here at the 38% level. It hung out there for about a week, and then that did not hold. It's currently testing at the 50% level. So we're going to need to keep an eye on that. That is right around $13.86, more or less, where it's at right now, $14.40. We want to watch and see, does it hold at this level, and what is the overall market doing in the coming days? If it bounces off of this, I might take a little bit of nibble at it, but I don't often like to jump in at the 50% retracement. Ideally, I'd like to get a retracement between 61 and 65%. So somewhere down around $12.43 to $12, and then really start going in with a bigger position on Palantir. Will it get down to the $12 range? I don't know. We're going to have to keep an eye on it, and I will be setting some alerts so that I can track what is going on with Palantir. If we have a retracement down to the 78% level, that's $10.36, which coincidentally lines up with where the 200 moving average is right now. And the complete full retracement would be back down to $7.75. Where it is going to go, I don't know. The fib just tells us levels to be watching for. And so keep an eye on $13.86, $12.42, and $10.36. Now you know my game plan, you know what I am looking at. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on Palantir. Are you in the play? Are you in the green? Are you looking at adding some more? Is it a swing trade for you or a long-term hold? Tell me about it. I want to know from you guys so that I can help you get the content that you want going forward on Palantir. If you have other stocks that you are interested in this type of analysis on, let me know that as well. I have some upcoming videos for you about all of the purchases I did last week as I continue to expand the blue chip portfolio. I always want you guys to be building some bench strength in your portfolio, either in blue chip profitable companies, companies that have a long history of positive earnings per share. If you don't know how to do that, get in some index tracking ETFs so you don't have to worry about sleeping at night. If you are a degenerate gambler, and yes, I am too, and you like speculative trades, risky trades, short squeeze plays, bankruptcy plays, we talk about those here on this channel too, but I urge you to keep your risk managed. Don't put your entire portfolio into these risky trades, because if you guess wrong, you are going to wipe out your entire portfolio. Always manage your risk, guys, and build up that bench strength in blue chip, solid companies with profits. Yes, it's a little more boring, but you can still have fun and not blow up your account. Now, I don't consider Palantir a risky trade, but I do want to make sure that if I'm holding it for the long term, that right now I'm looking for the absolute best entry. I'm not going to put all of my money into Palantir at the 61% level. I would like to start getting positions somewhere around there. If it drops lower, I will increase my position. And man, I would love to pick up some Palantir at the $5 to $7 range, but I certainly don't know if that is going to happen. Things are looking good for Palantir now. They are profitable, so we may not retrace all the way back down to that level. I will be keeping an eye on it. We will have future conversations. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the video comments. If you got value out of this, be sure and hit the like button. If this is your first time here, Don't forget to hit the subscribe. I am Tony, and I will see you on the next video.